Hello, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Beyond the Summit presentation of the Star Ladder I-League China qualifier. Here we've got Stage 1, we've got Group A, we've got Team BHeart versus Team Duobao. So, we're going to be seeing a two-game series out of these guys, already seeing a number of great games here today. We had the first match of the day, actually took a little while to get it going, but we did have FTD Team B versus the Wings Gaming, and then we ended up having VG.P versus ESD. Well, Wings, actually, spoiler, 2-0'd their opponent. We had a draw between VG.P and ESD, bringing us to BHeart versus Duobao. They're in Group B, along with Team DK and EHOME.K, or EHOME Kings, which is kind of the B team of EHOME. Both teams have beaten EHOME Kings previously, but in different tournaments, so they're kind of favored to beat that team, which means that in order to determine who's going to be the top dog of this group, it may very well come down to this match. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I am Blaze once again, and I'll be bringing you guys this two-game series to close out the night, or the morning in my case, as it's 5:30. But here we go. So we have here Team Duobao banning out Wyvern and Tusk. BHeart have used Wyvern a lot recently, so understandable, along with the metagame implications this hero brings. It's definitely one you want to take out of the pool. But we do see as well the Doom and the Undying banned out, despite the fact that BHeart had they had second pick. It makes sense. Slaughter was the first pick, Shadow Fiend, Earthshaker the second, and then Windranger kind of follows it all up here. So Slaughter, Windranger, really one of my favorite physical damage duos. Like, you could just amp up somebody and just bring them down so quickly. Really works best when you get that Windranger in early Aghanim Scepter. Also, you don't have to ban out heroes like Ember Spirit, because you can just absolutely crush the fact that he has almost no armor, and Blink Crush and Shackle Shot are very quick disables. But the Shadow Fiend is going to be the nemesis here for the Windranger in mid. He's going to be covered up by the Earthshaker quite a bit. Earthshaker's job this game is just going to be to stack the camps for the SF to farm, and make sure that if there's ever a heavy confrontation, that he drops a Fissure in there to give SF the better end of the trade. That is assuming it is a support Earthshaker, where an offlane Earthshaker is definitely possible, and has been seen quite a bit in the Chinese scene. Dazzle going to be coming out here, safe lane support, going to be obviously providing the weave and other tools to survive for his allies, and just overall going to be playing that 5 position. Darkseer ban makes a lot of sense with the Earthshaker Shadow Fiend already selected and locked in. The Spirit Breaker, I think they could have played around Spirit Breaker, to be honest. They've got Crush, which practice sliders will be able to crush a charge that's not surprising them over a cliff or trees. And then Windranger has the Shackle Shot, which should at the very least mini-stun the Spirit Breaker as he charges forward. So overall, I would have to say that Spirit Breaker wasn't the most necessary of bans, but, you know, it's much more prevalent in the Chinese scene and the way they play it, roaming and ganking. Anyways, beyond that, we've got the Ember Spirit, the Bounty Hunter, banned out for Phase 2 here. BHeart, really just looking to get a clean laning phase out of them, honestly. Like, they obviously didn't want to pick up the Ember Spirit for themselves against the Windranger, and they just didn't want it in the hands of Duobao. Along with that, the Bounty Hunter plus Slaughter creates a lot of problems for the Dazzle. He's not able to really go for pulls. He can always just be hit by a Junata or a Venom, and then the Slaughter suddenly is sprinting at you at double your movement speed, going for that crush. It's very scary. And speaking of scary, we've got Mr. Fear Factor himself, Night Stalker, coming in, and obviously going to be setting the tempo of this game now. Like, he, based on the clock, is going to be able to create a lot of pressure in multiple lanes at once, and he's actually one of my favorite picks to put out against a Dazzle, because you can always run through the back line with the Hunter of the Night, and then get that crippling through on the Dazzle, and that should prevent a Shallow Grave from coming out on a key target. So I think overall,
10 seconds
he fits with their strategy really well right now. They're looking to dive towers, they're looking to find kills quick, and a silence on any of these heroes could really be a game changer. So overall, I like this pickup. It will also give them a good mid to late game vision advantage. But I'm wondering how they follow this up. They've got the Night Stalker roaming as a 4 position. They've got the Slaughter in the off lane as a 3, and Windranger most likely in the mid matchup here as a 2. So now Duobao need to find their final item-independent support that'll zone out for their safe lane carry. And we'll have to see what they pick up for that as well. Right now, all the carries are in the pool. Juggernaut, very, very prevalent one, but we see Gyrocopter is here too. And I think Braveheart would probably want to pick up the Gyrocopter for themselves, but we'll see. Still thinking about it a little bit. Anything that's naturally tanky would be good here. Terror Blade. Not in Captain's mode. Sorry, guys. But, yeah. So, we'll have to wait. They're tapping into reserve time in full. They end up going with the Wraith King here. I think that Braveheart... I think essentially two players had two different ideas, and both of them really thought it was a good idea. I know that 86 has a very wide hero pool, like he even plays like Invoker and stuff like that to great effect, but I'm pretty sure he's the Shadow Fiend picker, so I think it was probably the captain and like Lulu, who was probably going back and forth about two different picks. In the end, they settle on the Wraith King, so did tap into a lot of reserve time figuring that out, but seemed to be a little bit of a deliberation amongst a couple of factions there on Team Braveheart. Either way, the Wraith King is what they decide upon. And while he is a tanky core, like this guy's never dying, I feel like the Night Stalker just harassed the mid lane then. Like, if the Dazzle Wraith King become unkillable in the bottom lane, then Night Stalker just says screw that and fights every lane but there. And Dazzle is going to have to constantly carry a TP, be ready to grave the Shadow Fiend, who's going to be under heavy fire.
Team pick.
Final bands coming out here. We've got the Clockwork from Duobao and the Gyrocopter from Braveheart, as again, those carries were left in the pool. Clockwork, though. Interesting. We're just going to see the Phoenix instead. So that they were right about banning out an offlaner, but while the Clockwork creates some problems once he picks up a Blade Mail against Windranger, and he definitely can get right up in an Ancient Apparition space, we do see here that they just go for the Phoenix instead. Now, do Duobao go for the Silencer pick? They have the potential to run him in the safe lane. They even have the potential to run him in the mid, but it is a complete audible from what they were running before. They definitely wouldn't have planned to pick up a Silencer without the Phoenix in play, so it's kind of an unnatural selection, right? Like, Silence is good this game against the Earthshaker, the Dazzle, the Phoenix, but it's just not worth it to go that big into a pick just to make it work. They go for the physical damage, and I think that's probably better. Just stick to your guns. That being said, Razor doesn't really get good static link time against Phoenix. If you go ahead and just Icarus dive away, you're going to break that link immediately. And while it's a long cooldown, it's probably worth it. Along with that, Razor suffers from attack speed very substantially, and if you get one fire speed on Razor, he's not going to really be able to take much use out of the attack speed that you're looking at there. I would have almost preferred like a Drow Ranger instead of a Razor, to be honest. I mean, I know it's weird, but that's just my perspective. Razor, we'll see what he does in the laning phase. I can't judge too quickly, but I would have liked to see something more dynamic. I loved the first 4 picks of Duobao. The Ancient Apparition is a little greedy, because you don't want your Night Stalker roaming around without any items, and the Ancient Apparition can thrive when he has the ability to farm. But other than that greed, I would say Duobao had the better lineup up until that Razor pick, and now it's kind of neutral. It really comes down to how the Razor plays, how the Phoenix plays. And Dog7, of course, doing his thing. So, early TP coming out from the Night Stalkers. He tries to get an Observer Ward out to block off the pull before they can scout it, but despite his TP, they're going to see him place their own Observer, and the Night Stalker probably just has to put a bit more basic ward out to cover all their bases and cover the bottom rune. Sentry Ward out here too. They thought that within the circle would be a nice free Radiant Observer. Instead, they're missing out. Why I am the guy who TP'd to the bottom lane now gets his items and is ready to rumble. Has a couple sentries in case that pull gets locked down too. They really want to make sure they get good experience on the Earthshaker as well as the Dazzle. So they're going to focus on the jungle a bit. Really aggressive movement coming in from Duobao for the Bounty Rune. It's going to be the Phoenix to cover up the Bounty Rune top and have to pick it up, actually, as the Windranger picks up one for herself. So while Phoenix is getting much better experience start than you normally would in the offlane, we're actually also going to be seeing that the Shadow Fiend's at a significant disadvantage. A Shadow Fiend without a Bounty Rune is actually kind of in a really bad spot. Wind Ranger's going to have half a level in advantage, earlier set of regeneration to play around with, and she's just going to look to trade hits at level 2 and 3. Now, there was a Fissure block on this creep wave, so you're going to see the creeps meet even further south in that line. Wow, that's a really good block. The Fissure block and the body block combined together put it further than you'd ever expect it to be. And the Phoenix, of course, gets full experience as a result. Meng and the Night Stalker moving forward here, trying to see what they can do, but this is not a lane you want to really be aggressive in. So you expect the Night Stalker just to leech half the experience here, and then at the 4-minute mark, when it hits nighttime, he's out of here. He's going somewhere else with boots, and he's looking for blood. They did get a stack here for the 1-minute spawn. So, sure, doing his job as he's going to build up the Shadow Fiend. I feel like Shadow Fiend, their game plan right now, they know that he's going to lose the lane, unless they get really lucky with some first blood play. Oh, going to get a nice little Fissure, but Wind Ranger doesn't really care. They're like, okay, you're not going to get raises on me, so I'll just keep on poking back and forth. I got this salve if I need it. And sure, we'll take more damage than the other way around. But what I was saying is, I think the overall game plan for BraveHeart is they know that the Shadow Fiend's going to lose out on this lane. It's 8-2 versus 4-2 already. But they can just help out 86 come back. That's all they have to do, is just come back in the jungle and kind of reset from there. In the meantime, there was a double pull coming out here. Dazzle. Oh, that shouldn't happen. Why did that? You have Icarus dive, bro. I mean, I know Chilling Touch can be surprising amounts of damage, but that shouldn't happen. Alright, well, Phoenix got first blooded. Dog 7 going to be giving that to the Ancient Apparition. And that'll be good momentum for the AA, kind of solving their greed problems outright. The AA gets to get like boots early, as well as a Flying Courier here at 3 minutes, then he's in a pretty good spot. AA probably one of the better supports to get first blood, honestly. Well, they're still skirmishing back and forth. We're going to look at bottom, where there's going to be a nice little heal bomb there. That's going to be the Night Stalker going down. Meanwhile, Wind Ranger just poking and prodding at this Earthshaker. Doesn't get a kill, but man, is he set back. They're looking for a double raise Fissure here onto the Wind Ranger, but I don't think he's going to let him have it. He's just going to stay back, wait for his bottle. He's already got the gold advantage here. Though Shadow Fiend's starting to take a CS lead. So the Earthshaker's constant babysitting is starting to pay off. In the meantime, down bottom, I mean, yeah, that's just the kind of thing. You can't really get aggressive on the Dazzle. If he stays next to the Creep Wave, the Shadow Wave just blows you up. And even with the Night Stalker's good natural 5 base armor, now 6 with a level 3, it's just not enough to really fight that. And Wraith King has the Vampiric Aura skilled, so all in all, you just aren't getting anything done. And meanwhile, Dazzle gets the pull. Like, Dazzle doesn't even have to be on the lane in order for Wraith King to feel safe in farming. He's 12-2. The Starter is getting some CS here, 10-2. So that's, at least you're giving him that, but I just don't think you go for kills. I think you go for last hits, you trade hits, but if you ever force a fight, the Dazzle's going to punish you, I think, unless it's nighttime. Speaking of which, it's now a 3-0-1 Night Stalker, grabbing himself a bounty rune. We're covering it up, and he is going to be having some gank potential now. The Radiant do not see him since he left the lane. As soon as he left this ward vision, they don't know where he is, and this could be a great opportunity to pick somebody off. Nice ward coming out from the Earthshaker, though. This is actually going to be huge. That ward should see... I mean, they could still go through the trees here, though. I'm not sure. Let's see. Night Stalker's going to be moving in. Still unseen. And sure, just has to stick next to the tower. Power Shot scouting him out. They really want to kill Earthshaker on the flank, but I'm not sure if they can manage it. 86 is now the new target. Oh, the Earthshaker Fissure shutting it down. The Void still comes through, though, and that's DD right-clicks with a double crush. Big damage coming out, and no Shallow Grave, unfortunately. Why I am using the Poison Touch earlier to trade hits in the lane cost him that skill point that would have otherwise saved the SF, at least delaying the death. Oftentimes you'll see the Shallow Grave used, and the SF, like in this case the SF, seems to get away, and then a Power Shot and just pats him on the back and finishes him off at long range. But in this case, there's not even that chance, as we do see the Dazzle just now hitting level 4. So the dive is successful, but this ward should help in the future. And we're actually going to see if Fisher, though that won't do much. And now the Tranquil Boot's up for the Phoenix, who is now approaching level 6. We'll look for most likely Hand of Midas next. Wraith King, doing pretty good. Most likely going to hold on to that ultimate skill point as well as that mango to make sure that he always has that reincarnation when he wants it. Dog 7 actually caught out here, Crippling Fear, and that's another death of the Phoenix. Now that one's more likely to happen. Oh, down bottom crush on Lulu, who will take some tower hits, but he'll be okay. In fact, look to trade. So yeah, that kind of pickoff just comes down to the fact that Night Stalker caught him off guard. The Radiant Ward only extends to the rune, so there's plenty of places a Night Stalker could be, and right up next to the Phoenix was the most unfortunate one. He cripples him, and he knocks him out. So, good play there from the Night Stalker overall. Observer Ward, 650, 6. So this ward saw the Dire Ward being placed, and they should not only be able to keep tabs on the Night Stalker, but be able to de-ward that when the time comes. In the meantime, Shadow Fiend doing some good raise action here. That's a triple stack actually cleared out in the hard camp, bringing him up to 29 souls. Level 7 Shadow Fiend has another camp to go with, and he's bottle crowing all the while. So he's going to come back to lane with half his mana. And although the Wind Ranger will get a nice chunk of experience, a third of that experience goes to the Wind Ranger. It's 86 that picks up the last hits, gets the souls, and gets the top of the net worth chart. And that's what I was talking about. 86 might not win the lane necessarily. He'll do pretty good, maybe even get a slight advantage thanks to the Earthshaker babysitting so much. But the real income was back here in the jungle. And SF takes it all for himself.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So Dog 7 actually going to get hit by this plasma field. The Razor knows where he's at. Maybe he wants to force the Icarus dive.
Radiant's top tower is
Where is
under
Night
attack.
Stalker? Oh, Night Stalker really wants to get the Crippling Fear again. Or even just interrupt the dive with a Void. But looks like Dog 7's at a good position to prevent that from happening. The Dire Observer Ward, though, still sees him. He's going to have to be very careful here.
Radiant's
In
top
fact, the
tower
creep wave is here, so he's going to dive. He's going to be here, and oh, wow, that is not a play. Okay, the TP will get him out just in time. Just in time. So, close calls, but 3-man movement up top, and no kill on the Phoenix this time around. Meantime, Wind Ranger going to claim herself a nice little bounty. But SF's got the DD rune, and that's he mocks your pitiful bounty rune with his massive double damage rune. I mean, just look how hard. He got one hit in, and he's actually going to be able to get a raise. Oh, he needed a double to get the kill. I think you go for the right click and then the raise. I think you keep walking, you go for a hit, hope that you don't get an uphill miss, and then you finish it off with a raise, because another DD right click would have done it too. And that evasion... Oh, well, it's level 2 wind run. Might have been long enough, never mind. It was level 1 wind run that you walk it in with the attack raise, but in this case, the level 2 wind run, you might just have to double raise and hope for the best. Oh, we're going to see actually a dive here. Oh, massive combo coming in from the Phoenix. And it should be the death of the Razor too, yes. Razor gets killed by the tower last hit, so that'll be split among 3. But the other last hit goes to the Shadow Fiend, and man, he is looking strong. Early switch over to net worth here as we see... Oh, he just walks up to the tower. He just doesn't care. He's got a dazzle behind him. He's just like, okay, well, I'll do whatever I want. And down bottom, we're actually going to see a lot of damage coming out here. Sorry I missed that, but some really good Fire Spirit snipes coming in from the Phoenix. He hit a double Fire Spirit there and got the critical amount of damage he needed. The Wraith King got focused down, but he skills up his Reincarnate, and they turn it around. That's exactly how you want to use his ultimate, especially when it's such a long cooldown. You don't want to just, hey, I didn't die. You want to not only not die, you want to turn it into kills. You want to turn it into a turnaround, and that was a really good play, I would say. Phoenix is still going to have his work cut out for him, though. Obviously, that play up top was a really good combo of the dive and the supernova because they had the double raises behind it. But in other situations, if you don't have a supernova advantage, like you don't have really good experience per minute building up your ultimate, oh, that could be something. Yeah, regen rune, gonna get multiple raises out here. Fire Spirit's not gonna be on the mark though. But anyway, so because the if the Phoenix is not over-leveled, then you'd have to say that they not only have to combo up the Supernova with the Fire Spirits and with the Fissure, but you probably have to be very careful about your positioning. Now Wraith King, Lulu, on bottom, gets crushed, taking a lot of hits here, and even shackled to a tree, and he won't have the Reincarnate this time around to make up for it.
Dire's middle tower is under
So
attack.
86, chunking towers down left and right, 230 left on the top lane, and mid's going to be down to half by the time he's done with it. In fact, with this clear, he's going to take it significantly below that. He really just seems so confident now that he's really hit his stride. This Razor, what's he building? Mechanism as well. So you can compare the two builds here between 86 and the Razor. It's actually very similar. There's a Bassi on the Razor. There's a Wraith Band on 86, but otherwise it's pretty much the same. Though, of course, the SF is a little bit ahead. Oh, and there's a bottle, of course, on the SF as well, as you would expect. So that's the 700 net worth different there.
Radiant's
The
bottom
Razor only
tower
700
is
behind,
under
that's
attack.
one full bottle behind, but otherwise their mechanisms are pretty much identical timing, which is great for... I don't know who that favors. I would say it would favor the Ancient Apparition team, right? Because mechanism is less valuable when there's an Ice Blast involved. So I would say that, yeah, Duobao are happy that they're able to even the mech exchange here. Although, obviously, they wish that they could have shut the SF down a little bit harder with this Night Stalker. So a little bit of Death Ball action here up top. The Supernova is ready, but what about TPs? The Earthshaker TP being the most important. That one's ready. And it just comes down to how committed they are to defending that top tower. Oh, DD Rune. This time for the Wind Ranger. She can focus fire the hell out of somebody now. This could be absolutely disastrous, depending on who they actually catch out. The Dazzle would be a great target, but you sprint Tranquil, it's still hard to find her. Up top. Fire Spirits being annoying. But so far, no blood. Wind Ranger, what she got?
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Point Booster, pretty solid pickup. That Aghanim Scepter, again, pretty key with the physical damage emphasis their draft relies upon. Looking at the graphs, pretty even. I didn't expect much of an advantage from either side, but the Radiant do pull ahead by about 1,300 experience, and we're actually going to see a kill going against them. The Wind Ranger rotated in, and although the Focus Fire, I believe, was used on the Dazzle, she's still getting a lot of good damage on Lulu, and he drops down to 110 HP before the Ice Blast expires. Now a two-man Shackle coming in for the Wind Ranger, but no Power Shot to follow it up. Lulu gets hit by the Inner Shadows, will take down just enough with no Reincarnate available for 20 seconds. Now there's Shaker in some real trouble. Aftershocks or not, he's going to be going down, but they do get the Night Stalker on the side. But this is what I'm talking about. This Phoenix Supernova has to be very careful, and they are going to be able to get it off, and in fact, everybody will run away. So, under the tower, the Shadow Fiend will fall, and that Supernova just couldn't be ambitious enough to actually save him. Like, the Dog 7 can't just go right on the SF and Supernova, or they just both die. So he goes for a very safe Supernova that doesn't end up being a fight changer. And that's a very significant swing forward for Duobao. 4-0-2 on this Wind Ranger. Keep an eye on her kill streak. This is going to be her building up a lot of momentum. And if she finds the Ag's Blink at a good timing, just start dominating the game. We're going to see, however, the Wraith Fire Blast connect on Slardar, and he's going to be eating a lot of damage here. It looks like they should have enough to bring him down as they Icarus dive. One more Fire Spirit, and he's going to TP, but too late. Dog 7 gets a killing spree of his own. So 3-2-3 on the Phoenix. And that's the best that BraveHeart have got so far. 86 has been doing decently here, but they're actually meching before the fight. I'm not sure about that. Usually you just want to Shadow Wave twice. It's only a 6-second cooldown. I think that mech is a mistake, honestly. Like, if you can just Shadow Wave twice and then have the mech for the fight, that's so much better. But I don't think they'll be contested for the next 45 seconds, so probably is nitpicking.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
And of course, it goes back to the Ice Blast a little bit. They have to use the mech a little bit differently because of the Ice Blast. They have to mech before fights, as a matter of fact, is the best way to put it. Make sure that they're all topped off before the Ancient Apparition Ice Blast is likely to come into play. I would actually advocate for a Gem of True Sight on Lulu here. I think that that would give a lot of potential for their team, but let's talk about that in a second. We do see the Supernova in a great position here. There's no way to focus this one down. The Earthshaker Fisher separates it from everything, and it picks up the Razor. The Wind Ranger is still kind of in play, but doesn't have her ultimate for 10 seconds. She's just going to power shot from afar. It's going to clip, sure, and that's going to be a mega kill for her. Tower will be killed off by SF, but now we get Lulu in some trouble. He's got the Reincarnate, and I'm sure they know it. Enough time has passed that that's not a kill they want to focus on. Alright, so what was I talking about? Oh yes, the Gem of True Sight. So this is something that a lot of players might learn today, as I only learned about it a couple weeks ago. Reborn changed something about Ice Blast. Ice Blast has always in Dota 2 had a little mark that goes on the minimap, that goes across the screen, and while spectators can always see it, players can only, opposing players can only see it if they've got detection and of course natural vision in that area. So over towers, always will see that little blip go across the minimap. Under Observer Sentry Ward combos, you'll see the little blip across the minimap. Reborn changed something. I've only seen it in 2 games, but I'm pretty sure it's consistent across the board. Oh, Corey? Gone. But Reborn changed it so that if you have detection in that area, not only do you see it on the minimap, but you see kind of like this little kind of fuzzy cloak of a ball flying across the screen itself. So if you have a Gem of True Sight and you see the Ice Blast coming, you can pop the mech right before that Ice Blast hits. And it seems like something that is really small, but for a professional game where your mech timing is so critical against the Ice Blast that can travel very, very quickly, it actually could change the game. And I find it so interesting that they decided to make that change unannounced. That when they patched Reborn, they had that little indicator, the Ice Blast marker, visible on the screen, but in a much more subtle way than you'd normally see it. Still much more obvious than a blip on the minimap, but still subtle, with it just kind of being a shimmer that goes across the screen. I don't know. It's new to me. I think it's interesting, and I think overall, to wrap up a 90-second rant, detection is actually really good against Ancient Apparition. And a gem on a Wraith King sounds good to me. That being said, we've got ourselves a dead courier from the Razor, but it was just a tower denied by Wraith King and a Blink Dagger up on the Slardar. Anything else interesting? Midas on the Phoenix, Midas on the AA, and a Roshan attempt, #1. Looks like that'll be a pretty clean one here. Aghanim's Focus Fire, and the Slardar's Damage Amp will give it -10 armor, which is actually putting him at -2. And they'll trade it for the Tier 1 top, as the Wraith King just cannot possibly get to this fight. I like the Slardar illusion here. If you try to tell the illusion to attack, it'll just die. But if you move command it with an M click, it'll just hang out and tank it up. We're going to see Dog 7 here spreading some love with the Icarus Dive, and that will be enough to kill the Ancient Apparition. But an Echo Slam comes out on the Night Stalker, and you're actually going to see them focus the egg this time around. They're going to try to do the best they can to bring it down. Oh, so close, but one hit from death. It'll pop. And that's going to be a full HP Phoenix. Oh no, actually, sorry, the Perfect World lag got me there. It did actually, they did kill the Phoenix, good job. Anyways, in the meantime, 4 people die. Sorry, that was probably terrible. This Perfect World lag, it's not as bad as the other games, but every once in a while you'll see something like a debuff timer run out early, and it's weird. Anyways, Wraith King coming in, doing some damage. Shadow Fiend does the brunt of the damage. A great Requiem, obviously the mech being really huge, and the Blink Dagger being unveiled. But the profit goes to the Wraith King for the most part. He's the one who stayed alive through all of it, and got all that assist gold and I think 1 kill. Actually ended the mega kill streak. That's what it was. I told you to keep an eye on the mega kill streak. The Wind Ranger giving away 820 gold to Lulu himself. And suddenly he's almost to Radiance. Like, he's 1,000 gold away from Sacred Relic, and that's not going to take much time at all to farm up. So, 1,000 net worth favoring Duobao right now, but the winds of change are a-blowing. Though we will see the nighttime strike. Is that a blade mail for a Night Stalker?
Gold is a
You don't
great
see that every day.
collector.
In fact, you don't really see that ever. I would actually look at the stats on how often blade mail is built on a hero like Night Stalker. I mean, he has a lot of HP to work with here. Earn and treads. He's diving deep, but it's really just annoying to the Shadow Fiend, and it's going to force the Shadow Fiend to buy a BKB. And it looks like he's going for it anyways. I mean, Sandan Yasha is a possibility too, but either way, the blade mail will certainly change his tune. So, smoking through the dire jungle. Looks like they won't be finding anything, though. The Razor's hiding out in the trees and TPing back, and everybody just makes their way to bottom lane, where the Observer Ward sees it all. So you can see a quick split, start farming, start pushing. As soon as you realize the smoke has completely failed and they're on the opposite side of the map, you just gotta try to turn it into an efficient farming pattern. So this is going to be BKB for 86, which will, for the most part, render this blade mail irrelevant. Like, maybe the Earthshaker deck is a pretty big hit from Echo Slam. The Wraith King won't care about blade mail. The Phoenix shouldn't. Yeah, I feel that overall this blade mail isn't going to do too much for the Night Stalker. But we'll see. I am in a very precarious position in the tree line here, but could get a good weave off and set up his teammates for success. Unfortunately, Dazzle will strike a little too late, and they won't get anything out of that ultimate. Wind Ranger, Aga Blink, that's the combo we're looking for. Has a lot of potential to just jump in and pick somebody now. They have Blink Crush, they have Blink Shackle, and they can absolutely devastate just with initiation alone. So, Wraith King, Sacred Relic coming out here shortly. Actually going to be the death of the Slardar here, but maybe with a little bit of rebuttal. Nice mechanism brings Meng back up to half HP. They're actually just going to kill off the Phoenix outright. Now chasing down the Dazzle, looks like he has the Grave TP, but with one Void, that's going to be cancelled out quickly, and wow, doesn't even get the chance for it. Now sure, very low on HP, Razor wants some, but he's going to have to fight through some cores to get it, as nice combo of Requiem and Wraithfire Blast bring Razor to his knees. Sure, did eat a Urn of Shadows, but he'll be okay, and Lulu's still up and kicking. Looks like he's going to be reincarnating shortly. So, he has the Blade Mail for the second life, but doesn't get the chance to use it as he gets chain stun. Nice mechanism from 86, trying to turn this back around. There's the Blade Mail onto Wind Ranger. Doing so much damage, but just not enough to kill the Night Stalker. And looks like BraveHeart lose 3 in the conclusion. They pop a lot. Every ulti but the egg mostly, but just can't find what they're looking for there. And great execution from Duobao, just cleanly finding those picks. Piece by piece, they bring their targets down. So, Ancient Apparition going to grab the point booster here most likely, and yeah, just making his way to a quick Aghanim's. This will really hurt the value of the Shadow Fiend mech, and almost guarantee that a Shallow Grave target will be shattering. Along with that, of course, Dazzle's heal's less effective overall. There is the heal in the Sunray too, but I don't know. I play enough Phoenix to see that Sunray sometimes do work. I just don't know if it's worth mentioning in a cast. Like, yes, Ice Blast will stop Sunray from healing, but I don't really think that's the primary concern. We do see here Shadow Fiend dodging out a gank. Lots of Blink Daggers in play, so a lot of this comes down to reflex, honestly. The quick jump could change a lot. Also means the Wraith King's Radiance will be more effective. Stopping those Blink Daggers is a pretty big deal. So, I guess for those that haven't seen a lot of Wraith King recently, I can talk a little bit about why this is a valuable item progression. Blade Mail, obviously, you get it potentially twice in a fight with 2 full health bars through reincarnation. Really solid, but that's only really valuable if they start focusing you. So your next item pickup has to be something that makes them start focusing you. You go for the Radiance, and there's very significant incentive to take you out of the fight. The Radiance keeps burning, you stay on top of them. As long as you're not being kited too hard, you can do a lot of damage in the team fight, and suddenly they have to start focusing you. But with 2 lives, with the Blade Mail, it just makes it more and more difficult to really stand up to that. And oftentimes, Wraith King will trade his life 2 for 1. Or 2 for 2 if you count the Reincarnate. So, overall, it's just a really strong. Of course, it also makes up for his farming issues, where normally the Wraith King can't farm quickly. Now he has no problem doing so. Ice Blast is going to come out here, but they're not going to follow it up. They're not going to go for the Blink Crush here. They had the opportunity, but they see the Radiance, say, well, the best case scenario is we kill him twice and we don't even take any gold from his pocket because it's all spent up on that Radiance. So, yeah, overall, just not a valuable opportunity. Whereas, like, going on the SF here would be great, for at least forcing it to the 10-second BKB.
Illusion.
So it looks like Wind Ranger's going to go for BKB of her own. This will help, again, against the Blade Mail, as well as the Radiance. Not only damage, but more importantly, that mischance could definitely inhibit her damage output. And it also helps if the Dazzle wants to go for like a Solar Crest, and the Chain Stun of the Earthshaker, the magical damage. Overall, Wind Ranger with BKB is something to be feared. Because you just pop BKB Wind Run, and you can't be killed. Like, you're only afraid of, what, a Supernova Stun? No problem. And I'll just go on the tier 2 tower. It is backdoor protected, so seems like a odd idea. But if they can force people away from the top lane, gives easy space to farm, that's just going to get their Aghanims faster. So, yeah, you want to force those TPs bright and early. And ZZZ in the end will just Midas and threaten the blast. Oh, this could be a great Ice Blast onto 2. Oh, this is huge. The Crush comes out. The 2-man Shackle and the Ice Blast. What a setup onto Braveheart. They lose the Dazzle. They lose the Shadow Fiend, but they're going to try to buy back for this and fight in with this Supernova. The Supernova Egg is level 2, doing a lot of damage, and they almost catch the Wind Ranger, but a TP away from the Slardar, and the Wind Ranger barely escapes the Sun Ray. Oh no. A wasted buyback from the Shadow Fiend. A BKB charge as well. Suddenly 1370 gold in the hole. Oh, that buyback cost was a full 900. This chart would not be nearly as bad if not for that. They at least killed the Night Stalker, but no. I mean, I guess the Night Stalker might... I mean, they would have turned and focused the egg if the Shadow Fiend hadn't bought back. Instead, they were in retreat mode, so they lose the Night Stalker because the SF buyback, but that's not worth an SF buyback. So all in all, pretty disastrous. Sorry guys, if I'm having a little bit of awkward silences here. It's now past 6 a.m. and my sleep schedule isn't really yet adjusted to China. Over the next 2 days, I'll be much better at keeping
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
active throughout this later stage of the night. But for now, it's our final match. And it is in a massive smoke gank coming in from Duobao. They're going to find Dazzle on the back line. That's a great hero to kill off early. And it looks like he won't even get the Grave off here, as we now see BKB Requiem coming out. Big damage onto Razor, but he's got a BKB too. And he will be able to withstand. Not doing much damage, but certainly not taking it. Sure, taking some big hits. It's going to be just right clicks that run him down. No, he actually is going to be able to run away. Either way, though. Oh, no. Now where they're blinking back and forth, Shackle comes out onto the Earthshaker, but that lets Shadow Fiend fight free. You Shackle the Shaker, and now you're going to have to deal with the big Shadow instead. In the end, though, it's going to be a 3 for 2, but they want more. They're going to go for the Crush, a huge Shackle line, but that's only to disengage. They Shackle them both together, but the Wraith King still is Reincarnate, and it's just not worth risking with only those 2 heroes in play. So... In the end, they lost too much too early. They were a little bit spread out. The Ancient Apparition tried to stay back as best he could, but he still got picked off on the back line. And of course, the Supernova was quite effective there. So it was really good to pick off the Dazzle early, but just lost too much in terms of their own support staff. And that brings us back and forth. Only a 2,000 net worth lead. In fact, zeroing out the experience. BHeart bring it back. And I do believe that was Duobao that smoked that up, so the fact that they made all that time and didn't actually get a favorable exchange there just shows what BHeart are capable of. And this Phoenix is getting huge. This Phoenix is just about to hit 2 major timings in a Phoenix's lifespan. First is the Shiva's Guard. Shiva's Guard attack speed slow of 45 makes it much more difficult to kill the egg. And then level 16 brings you from 8 to 11 attacks to destroy, and unless your entire team looks to focus it, it's almost impossible to bring down. Add in a Fisher and a Shiva's level 16 egg, it will almost guaranteed survive. And for those that don't know, you cannot focus fire the egg, so don't even try it. It's a different unit type than a hero.
Dark light.
Enemy units and buildings. Well, it's something altogether unique. Anyways, Roshan taking a few hits, goes back into his pit to think about things, pondering his woes, and then Wraith King comes in and starts slapping him around. And this guy's got a pretty sucky life, I gotta say. Not that he didn't deserve it, according to the lore. Alrighty, so got Sunray healing up the Wraith King in the pit, but he's still going to get hot in this Ice Blast. But that's a pretty bad Ice Blast target when he's got that second life. We're actually going to see 86 though pop the BKB. Wind Ranger could just walk away, but no, she wants to fight. She pops her BKB Focus Fire, and 86 drops down to 1 HP from the Shallow Grave. Now there's a good Phoenix egg coming out with the Fisher though, and they're slowly focusing it, but not enough. It looks like they're actually going to let the egg pop, and Razor and Slardar are on the run, taking a lot of damage from Lulu's Radiance. He still hasn't gone down for the first time. Reincarnating now, they're slowed next to it. On the back line, they did chase down the Shadow Fiend, so he did go down, but Lulu still trying to do the best he can, and with that Blade Mail, he actually trades with the Wind Ranger and kills her off.
Is under attack.
We actually do see that Sunray heal coming into play as well, as now Lulu is at half HP. The Urn of Shadows helping out as well, and now Meng caught by the stun, unable to blink Disjoint. Yeah, he'll Force Staff, get some distance, but I'm not sure. I think the Wraith King still can catch him? No, he blinks back. I think the Slaughter, as soon as the Wraith King blinks here, the Slaughter has his Blink Dagger off cooldown and will blink right before the Radiance ticks. So in the end, a huge kill on the Wind Ranger. That's a dominating streak going to the Phoenix, and suddenly he's level 16. So not only do you get the 11 attacks to destroy, but the damage is 100 per second. The stun duration is 2.5. You might seriously have to be considering a Pipe of Insight on one of Duobao's heroes. Now Shadow Fiend died over here. That was his dieback. He tried to run up the cliff at like 1 HP. Ended up getting finished off. I think the Wind Ranger pursued him. The fight got really split there, but... Oh, Meng, no blink for you. But they're going to power shot the pit, and Lulu is still going to be under fire here. The Ice Blast, again, I think Lulu is happy to tank the Ice Blast, because he has that second life. Oh, but nice focus fire going on the Phoenix. Taking him down to half HP, but... They want to focus on the pit. They zone the Phoenix out, but they need to focus on the pit. The power shot scouts it, but now Wind Ranger's in an awkward spot. Gets caught with the Ray Fire Blast. Meng will get a 2-man crush, and BKB focus fire. The Phoenix egg comes out. Oh, great timing for the egg, and that's gonna force the Wind Ranger back home. It's so hard to heal her back from this position. I mean, they have an urn, but no. Wind Ranger is just gonna have to stay on the high ground here. And look to maybe snatch the Aegis. Phoenix coming in, just jumping around, diving, doing some good Shiva's work, and Shadow Fiend will pick up the Aegis. So now Wind Ranger got the Urn charge from the Night Stalker, but she's so far from the fight she can't do anything. The Slaughter is already dead on the high ground, and Dog 7 still stands. This is getting very awkward very quickly. Wind Ranger needs a big 2-man shackle here, but we're going to see an Echo Slam instead hit her. She gets chain stun, and she gets killed off without a single spell cast. That's a 3 for no. And that is BHeart pulling ahead massively. Not a single death against this lineup. And also, of course, delaying the Ancient Apparition BKB. This Ancient Apparition has gained about, I would say, 900 gold in the past 8 or 9 minutes. Like, it's been really weak GPM recently. And now we see them just pushing in, taking the tier 2 tower, no problem at all. And of course, Lulu is building up that AC as quick as can be. So now, surging forward, they still have the Aegis here on the Shadow Fiend. 6-second BKB charge is all they have to work with, but that should be enough for them to look for these racks. And this comes down to the initiation. Duobao, they've got the probable 2-man crush, but they need the Wind Ranger to follow it up. For now, it's just going to be on Lulu. This is just the beginning. They're not ready to fight yet, but they are trying to delay it so they can get in position to at least keep the Ranger Axe alive. They get the Shackle. Doesn't connect? Oh, no, but at least they Ice Blast him, bringing him down for the first time. Now he blinks back for the second one. Meng, key crush he can't find. And now it's going to be Supernova in the trees, meaning they can't actually go past that line. They can't assail BHeart's position. They're fortified outside the base, and they can just walk away. Very clean, smooth play from BHeart. They lose the Reincarnate, but that's back up shortly. 90-second reset, and they'll be back with an AC. Oh, if there was ever a time ZZZ needed the Aghanim Scepter. But I've got to say that the current Ice Blast that we're seeing, Ag or no Ag, it really doesn't make a difference. They're always killing the Wraith King that they Ice Blast, but that's just it. They're only killing the Wraith King that they Ice Blast. They need to hit more targets. They need to hit like a 3-man Ice Blast, and that means AA has to be like up here with a TP scroll, firing the Ice Blast down here, and then ready to TP and start throwing out other spells as soon as the Ice Blast launches. So yeah, he really needs to start playing differently. He needs to get some distance from these fights. He needs to hit more than the Wraith King. And SF just picking up the Manta, easy split push, and they'll go for a smoke. Like I said, as soon as the ultis are back off cooldown, they want to start fighting. Smoke, gonna be coming out here. Now, this will only last the 35 seconds until the Supernova's up. So I think the Supernova will be up for the second half of the fight, but if they're just gonna maneuver around here somehow, they should be finding their way in. But in the meantime, it seems to be a clear movement. Duobao, they see that they're not pushing an easy tier 2 tower with the Aegis, so they expect a more intentional use of it. They're just gonna hang out in the back. Farming the bottom lane as the best they can. This Razor, though, he really hasn't seen much impact in these fights. Current KDA of 2, 6, and 7. He's actually on the losing end. Pretty hardcore here. Middle of the ground net worth. And here we are.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Now you've got the Shackle Shot coming onto Lulu here. Big damage, but the Sunray will keep him up. And where is that Ancient Apparition? Still at kind of middle ground here. Gets the Ice Vortex out on targets. Mechanism's been used though. Again, pre-casting before the Ice Blast hits. Meng's gonna get the crush, but Lulu happy to take it. And yeah, the Blade Mail might have to wait till life number 2. Life number 1 is at half HP right now, and he seems to be actually doing pretty fine. Oh, they cancel the Urn with the Power Shot, but still Dazzle's gonna keep spamming and keep healing him up. So they just kind of play Death Ball here. They say, okay, well, you don't want to focus the Wraith King? Well, then we're going to just attrition you out. Lulu will not get hit by that Shackle. Keep on walking. The tier 3 is down. And the Aegis will be expiring here shortly. So they should fall back as the Shadow Fiend doesn't have that second life, but it seems like they still want to keep forcing it. Piece by piece, they can do this. The Mechanism will be off cooldown, but that Aegis will be gone. And that's a critical timing. Will they be able to focus him down? Will the Shallow Grave come out? Lulu's going to get caught by the Shackles, but he's just soaking up all this damage. And now the Shadow Fiend jumps in, goes in with the huge Requiem onto the Wind Ranger, and she goes down without popping her BKB. Oh, what a massive combo there. They Wraith, Fire Blast, and Fisher her, and then just blink, BKB Requiem, no chance to survive it. That's the insta-kill on the Wind Ranger, and suddenly it's racks. Range racks, melee racks, and another ranged racks. That's 4 in their advantage when they walk away, but Meng doesn't want them to leave. He wants to keep them around as long as possible. Wants desperately for some way to bring them down, to get some vengeance for their fallen structures, but it's just not going to happen. You can't come back from an opener like that. The Fisher Requiem, just absolutely insane. I mean, there it is, it's GG. Literally the 2-spell combo that wins them the game. Getting Surge Fisher right with the BKB Blink Requiem is a killing blow to the Wind Ranger because she can't BKB, because there's a giant 36 soul SF right on top of her. And that's it. 1 shot, 1 kill, 1 win for BraveHeart here in this 2-game series. Wow. Yeah, still a lot of action to keep me awake through the remainder of the morning. And it's been an absolute pleasure to cast these games here. BraveHeart take it 40 minutes, 45 seconds, and that'll be bringing us to Game 2. Now Duobao really need this second win to try to at least get a point out of the match, and BraveHeart even more so fueled and ready to go for their next bout. If they get this next win, they'll get 3 points on the board, and that will really help them in the groups here. So overall, I really like the draft of Duobao for the first 3 picks. First 3 picks, they had a Wind Ranger, a Slardar, a Night Stalker. They had the ability to roam, they had the ability to get aggressive, and obviously they had some really good scalable aspects of the lineup with the physical damage output. That let them get into the Roche Pit and stuff like that very frequently. The problem came with the next couple of picks. The Ancient Apparition got a little greedy. Even though he did get First Blood and he got the Midas at a pretty good time, we just didn't see enough from that hero. The Ice Blast only hitting on 1, etc. And the Night Stalker really couldn't find momentum either, trying to fight the Dazzle. It's just not kills that you're going to find during the daytime. Nighttime, by all means. But during the daytime, it's just not an opportunistic mentality from the Night Stalker there. And then the Razor never really got off the ground. Got a good mech timing. BKB S&Y, can't really ask much more of him, but it's just not that impactful of a pick if he's not gaining momentum. The Phoenix just walked all over him. Really good play from Dog 7 and the Phoenix there. I think that was definitely something that Duobao have to put into consideration for a later stage ban. Maybe stage 2, definitely stage 3 if Dog 7 still has a hero in the pool. Because Clockwork probably would have been easier to deal with for the Razor in that situation. Anyways, Game 1 completely under wraps. We're going to see Game 2, and we're going to see how this one ends. The final match, the final game of the final match for Starladder I-League China here tonight. Thanks once again for tuning in. I myself am Blaze. You can follow me at BlazeCasting, and I'll see you guys in a few minutes for game number 2.